bananas? Is it hot? What is up, friends, family, acquaintances, to today's video, another video with me, Caitlin J. Reads. And what are we talking about today? I just read a book. So hyped, so highly regarded, such a classic, shall you say, in the fantasy space. And I was so sorely disappointed that I knew immediately, I just knew I needed my voice to be heard. I needed a spoilers video all about this book and what I liked about it, what I could appreciate from it, and what I thought was just heinous. All right? What I thought was absolute heinous behavior on the author's part, okay? Before we get into today's video, make sure subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below. Let's get that subscriber count up. I see you watching my videos. I know you're there. All you got to do is subscribe. Hit the like, comment down below. Anything at this point, all right? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and why I was so sorely disappointed by that novel. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the juice, okay? Taking out the iPad. All right, I have notes. I have detailed notes from my notes that I took of the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, so let's start with what I appreciated and enjoyed about this world. And what I will say is that this world is absolutely lush. It is amazing. The lore in this was so interesting. The concept of calling something's name and then that being the magic system was really, really awesome to me, and something that I wish was more deeply explored within this novel. Because to me, from the beginning, from the title, that's what I thought this book was going to be about. About a hero's journey, coming into himself and his powers, and seizing control of his life, right? I was wrong, all right? I was sorely mistaken. I have something in my eye. I have to get it out. So like I said, I really enjoyed the university, the arcanum, the concept of all of that. And I really enjoyed the lore. I enjoyed the inclusion of the fae and demons and everything that we get earlier on into the story that's mentioned, but not relevant whatsoever to the meat of what Rothfuss is trying to write. And to me, that just felt disjointed, made no sense. What else did I really like about this novel? I liked the inclusion of song and how important music is to the main character. I feel like in a book, you have to have something that keeps the narrator going. And I really loved when Kvothe, or whatever the fuck, however you pronounce his name, was driven by the lute, by his music. And seeing him interact with the lute and the music and grieving in the process of him being in Tarbean and, going through it. That to me was really powerful storytelling. And I really liked that part of the book. I did, all right? I will admit it. That is why I did not put this book down, okay? It was purely, the lore was absolutely amazing. The magic system I found so intriguing. I felt like Kvothe, or whatever his name is, had potential from his backstory as a character to be something really awesome. But once we got to the point where he went to the university, I was just sorely let down. Okay, so it hurt how much I was let down with this story. Okay, what else did I like about it? Ugh. Oh my God, something is in my eye perpetually. I feel like I could have enjoyed this if we were following a different story, or if Rothfuss wrote Kvothe's story differently. And I'll get into why that is later in this video. But I feel like the world is so rich and it has so much potential to be so amazing and interesting and well fleshed out, and half the book is filled with nonsense. All right? Nonsense. He must have had a horrible editor because, boy, nonsense. All right? And let's just jump right in, with that being said, to the issues that I had with this book, because they were aplenty. First and foremost, all right, why are we telling this story in this manner? From the first book, there is no indication of why it's so important that Coat tells his story as Cloth to the, whatever his face, the chronicler. It just doesn't seem relevant whatsoever to me. What is the relevance of him telling the story in this manner? What is the narrative reason for it? I personally don't understand. It felt like a waste of my time, and it felt like the story could have started with him, Cloth, whatever, starting his journey with his with the parents, with his road tribe, being those deeply, connected storytellers, connected to the community around them and to the earth below them. And I just feel like if we started there, maybe the story would be a little more streamlined. The way in which he told this story, quite honestly, felt nonsensical to me. It felt irrelevant to me. I just didn't see the purpose or the point of it. And going into our next point, I felt like this book had zero plot or purpose, especially when you get past that halfway point. It just felt dragging. No plot, no purpose, okay? For me, once he passed Tarbean and got himself into the university, which I believe is around that 50% mark, 50% of the way through, the story and the plot dropped completely. No story, no purpose. He forgets pretty much all about the Carinthians or Carthins or whatever the fuck they're called. I just finished the story today, so you could tell how much I really care. But pretty much that plotline dropped. Unless his little friend Denna was around. And Denna is my next problem with this fucking story. She's the love interest in this story. And do I say this any better besides that she is the typical manic pixie dream girl? I was published before 2010. I am different than any girl imaginable. I am not... Forget it. I'm not a girly girl. I'm a man's girl, and I'm smart and intelligent, unlike any other girl ever. And I'm just so smart and intelligent, and I just don't care. I don't care. And Quoth, the entire second half of the book, felt like he was pining after this woman, chasing after this woman. His thoughts were consumed by this woman. And I get it. But, this was not marketed as a romance. All right? I was not marketed to this book as a romance novel. So when I got romance and bad romance at that, I was pissed. Because what did it take away from? It took away from what I found had value in this story. The magic system, the world, the lore. And what dropped off when we got Denna? All three. All three. He hardly continued it until, we go to whatever town that is where he slays the vegan dragon that's high on fucking dragon heroin. All right? That is where I feel like we get the most out of Quoth while he's at the university. But besides that, he's thinking about Denna and how he's going to find Denna and talk to Denna and walk her home. Or he's thinking about how poor he is, which I actually really liked about this story. That's the one thread that I felt was carried through properly about the story, and I should have included it in that first section. I like how he carries through this mentality of poverty with him. I appreciate that. I appreciate how he cares about his money and how he spends it. But Denna, I don't care. She runs away. She doesn't like you like that. And if she does, she doesn't have the emotional availability to be with you. Move on. I want to get more of the arcane. I want to get more of him trying to please the masters at the university. I want to get more of him going after Eloth, whatever the fuck his name is, and really trying to sink his teeth in trying to learn the calling of the names. But instead we get him chasing around a girl in some little town for 400 pages. No, that's not what I signed up for. All right? That's not what I signed up for. And it was the worst aspect of this book, right behind the fact that she is practically the only female character of substance in this book, besides two others, that Fell, I believe her name is, which is a complete side character, only there to advance the plot of our main character, and Ari, whatever, again, only there to unveil things for Kvothe, not actually serving any purpose of their own. And I hate that. I hate it so much. I am so tired of reading, because in my opinion, Kvothe is entitled, feels like he has nowhere intelligently to grow, started way too OP mentally, and just to me, even though he keeps, like I said, this threat of poverty, to me feels like he carries himself like he's better than any other person that's around him. And that just bothers me immensely. All right, he is not the type of character that I enjoy reading from. He's a real smart ass. And I just didn't like it. All right, I didn't like it. If he used that smart assery to try to kick some ass in school, maybe it'd be a different story. But guess what? Half the time he's chasing Denna around town. You're not fucking passing any classes when you're missing 4 days worth to go ride horsies in the woods with Denna. Okay? I'm sorry. This shit just pissed me off so deeply, because the one female character that we have in this novel who is not there just to advance the plot of Kvothe is the most annoying archetype of characters that you could possibly have for a female character in a book. Stop. Oh my god, I'm sick of it. I am so sick of seeing fucking female characters written this way. And quite honestly, male authors, if you're going to write female characters this way, don't bother writing female characters. Or if these are the only types of female characters you're going to write, don't bother writing female characters. I don't even want to see it. There was no effort placed there. I don't want to see it. You're able to have a student who is like an old elderly man who is more accepted than the woman in this story. For what reason? For what reason is that? Let me know. I don't like it. And like I said, Kvothe was just annoying, pretentious, self-righteous, pious, and the way he said things, just like I said before, he is so holier than thou, There's a part specifically where Denna is high on drugs, and he's like looking at her and objectifying her sexually, but then he was like, oh, but if I would never be the type of man to actually take advantage of her. And the way it was stated made it sound like less because of his morals and more because he doesn't want his reputation going astray. And this is the type of shit that I fucking hate in fantasy books. This is the type of misogyny I can't stand in fantasy books. And this is why we need less men in fantasy. All right? And I'm not completely writing off Patrick Rothfuss because of this horrible depiction of both male and female characters. In my opinion, will I read A Wise Man's Fear? I don't know. I don't know if I can after this monstrosity. And I've heard it's pretty divisive. Okay? It's pretty divisive. So I don't know if I can do it. Because Kvothe is one of the most pretentious, self-righteous, pretentious characters I've ever read from in my life. It would be one thing if we're just reading from a, middle-aged man. Like if we're reading a James Eames book, we're reading Call of the Wild. We're reading for mostly men in that book, all right? Mostly male perspectives. But they are not shitty. They're not shitty men. They're not pretentious, self-righteous men. And they can see and really process their flaws and almost dwell on them. And I like that in a character. This guy, to me, his only flaw is being poor. And that's not a character flaw. That's not a character flaw. So why is that the only thing that he can identify with? Being poor and loving Denna. Those are his only two personality traits. And like I stated, I really actually enjoyed that thread of poverty that he carried along. But he needs other personality traits besides Denna, the loot, and fucking silver talents. Okay? I'm begging. Begging on my knees. It's just ridiculous. His character is like one of the most base level characters I've ever read in a fantasy book. And that's saying a lot. Alright, that's saying a lot. Predictable plot twists. I saw almost every plot twist coming in this book. Parents die. Of course. Why wouldn't they? Alright? The underthings are the secret way into the archive that was mentioned halfway through the book. Obviously. Why else would they bring in the character of Ari and the underthings to begin with? What are the underthings? It is quite obviously the old university that Elode or Loth or whatever the fuck his name is was talking about at the very end of the book with Kvothe. It's the old university. He was telling you the truth. He's not cracked out in the brain. He knows his history. He's a little eccentric, sure, but he knows his history. And I wanted to see a better story from this. This world lore magic system has the capabilities to go so far with such an interesting story and interesting characters, and instead we get this cesspool. It gets me so angry because I feel like there's so much potential in the world and the magic, and we just get the shittiest people to follow. The shittiest. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You know, like, we all know, I can tell you right now, Ambrose is probably Denna's patron. Ambrose is actively trying to ruin Kvothe's life. Of course he's gonna go after Denna too. Are we stupid? Are we stupid? Are we dumb? I get he's like a headstrong 15-year-old. Ugh, I just don't like it, don't enjoy it. It's not my cup of tea. I can see why people really love this book, yes, I can. But do I believe that it deserves all the hype it gets? Not even a little bit. No, not even close. Not even a smidge. Not even a smidgems, all right? You know, when I first read one book, this is my TLDR for the video. When I first read one of my favorite books, people tore it apart and said, read The Name of the Wind. This is The Name of the Wind. This is The Name of the Wind repackaged. This book is everything The Name of the Wind can't be. It's everything The Name of the War tried to be and failed at, quite frankly. So I suggest, if you're like me and feeling very unsatisfied with The Name of the Wind, pick up the Poppy War. We have similar world building threads in the fact that there's a university that our main character goes to. And there is an enemy within said academy. Besides that, R.F. Kuang does everything so much better in this book. We have amazing morally gray characters. We have amazing plot and magic. We have a structured plot that's held all the way through. And we have a character who has more personality than the boy that she likes. And that's that. And this book is fucking phenomenal. It has more of a flow, plot, and purpose. So, if you didn't pick up the Poppy War because you saw ratings or whatever that was like, or reviews that said, this is like Name of the Wind but worse, they are fucking liars and have bad taste in books. This is 10 times better than The Name of the Wind. And the only thing, like I said, that they share is that university academy aspect and the aspect of having an enemy. How is that copying? I don't know. Whatever. But as I stated, The Name of the Wind was not the book for me. And quite honestly, like I said, like I see character, not even plot-wise, character-wise, not even character, I'm sorry, I can see world-wise, magic-wise, lore-wise, why this book can be interesting to dive into, analyze, why you'd really like it. But everything else for me negates all of that. All of it. Because guess what? Instead of learning about how to call the wind, how to call fire, how to call stone, how to, be a magic artificer, a member of the Arcanum, we're too busy spending half the book chasing a girl around the streets. And a fucking manic pixie 2010 I'm not like other girls girl. Take me out of my fucking misery, alright? Take me out of my misery. Put it in a coffin. Bury it 6 feet under. Where this book should fucking be. Patrick Rothfuss, you don't even need to finish the trilogy. Just move on. Write new characters. I'm sure you realize all of these flaws. Write new characters. New story, same world. It would be much more interesting. Okay? Anyways, that is my rant review of The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, a fan favorite in the fantasy sphere that I fucking hated. Alright? I gave it like a 2.5 out of 3 stars, or out of 5 stars, rounded it up to 3 on Goodreads. But like, I am getting my headache back just by speaking of this book. That's how much this book frustrated me. And I'm not scared of long books, so I don't regret reading this. But it's one of the worst books of the year for me. It's one of the worst. It's right along with like The Lions of Alverson, right along with The Heroes, which I like The Heroes more than this. Boring. I'm bored out of my mind, and I fucking hate falls, and I'm gonna sing because it's the name of the wind. Don't forget, subscribe, like, comment down below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Why or why not? Feel free to roast me in the comments down below. Engagement is engagement, either way that you give it to me. So I thank you, humbly, from the bottom of my heart. All right? Peace the fuck out. I'll see you on Friday.